Hi, I'm Rob. Welcome back to my channel. We'll talk about speeding. Um, I know you noticed about a lot of my videos and reading what's going on, or I'm going to work, going home, or just sitting there and writing things down. Turn out later on, I'll get some other things to write down, and I'll end up putting together, and the video I want to put in. So there's work involved. It ain't just me rambling stuff off my head. It takes time think and I forget stuff and I remember it later and want to add into it. And there's some of them, the videos I had to go through 3 pieces of paper, rewrite and everything. There's a lot of work involved. Uh, but anyway, let's get right to it. I was guilty of a lead foot, speeding all the time, driving aggressive at times, even drove like a fool. One day I was driving, speeding, a song came on the radio, started listening, actually hearing the words, and I was like, why am I in a hurry? I was just going home, no reason to be speeding. So I started backing off the pedal, switched lanes, slowed down, drove normal. While the traffic flew past me like it was a NASCAR race. And actually feel the wind off some of off the trucks, especially semis from that day. And I changed the perspective on things. Like I work hard for my money. It's not worth it to me to speed and get a ticket, pay out a couple $100. I don't make a lot of money. I don't, and a couple $100 a lot of money. Go to the movies, watch to eat, get some gas. When I care to go to movies or shopping or whatnot. There's a lot of money involved there. I'd rather spend on something better than spend on a ticket. Anyways, it takes a lot of work to make that money just to be a fool and hand it over to a city or over speeding. I seen a deer go through a windshield in front of me. A guy I worked with, he had a he had been going, he had been at least about 7, I'm thinking. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. And another time, after work, the other guys would get on the road and speed and racing each other, trying to trying to get home faster and stuff. You know. Anyways, I seen a guy had to swerve into a ditch because a truck pulled out in front of him. When he went into the ditch, it was culvert. Anyways, it was pretty crazy. It was like something from a movie. The rear end got ripped out of it. And when it came down, it's kind of swerving and stuff, and sparks fly and stuff. It was early in the morning, 6 in the morning on 7. Anyways, it was pretty crazy, seeing that in front of me. Anyways, it taught me, no reason to speed. If you end up in a wreck or dead, rather drive slower, make it home in one piece. And I started thinking about that. I make it home in one piece. My car intact for tomorrow, so I can commute to work for life, or get my child to go eat or other entertainment. I'm sure you've seen some bad wrecks yourself, or people getting tickets. I hope you learn as I did. Slow down, make it to work, make it home. Your destination in one piece. I got a saying: you drive stupid, you don't die stupid. And that's something I say. Even though there's sometimes I'm guilty, things like that. But since I've been working, trying to get closer to God and stuff, my peace, I've even many times just because people were up on me, tailgate and trying to get around me and stuff. Uh, trying to get my peace, I just drove off the side of the road. Parked off let them go past me. That's got back on the road. Not saying recommend doing that for everybody, but if it comes down to it, they're safe. Let's pull over and let them go past you. Pull into a store or something, or a parking lot, spin around and come back out. Let them go on down the road. If they don't want to pass you, they want to ride you or in like that. Disturb your peace. Nothing's worse than disturbing peace. Anyways, on that note, be kind to each other on the road. I made mistakes where I didn't know where I was going. I'm sure we all been there, and I was trying to merge over, and they didn't want to let me in. And I was in the wrong lane. I didn't know where I was going, even with the GPS stuff, but it was accurate. Anyways, be kind. If you let that person in, I'm not saying let the 20 people in, but if you let that person in, he might have made a mistake. They're in a rush, or they weren't thinking. I've seen some of them videos. I'm sure you have too, the dash cam videos, and some of those, the simple fact that that person was a dash cam didn't want the other person in. If they just backed off and let them in, none of that would have happened. You know, I mean, some of the things we cause other people to do. You know, aggressive driving. You know, it's a real thing. It's happened every day. People get shot over stupid things. You know, and you know, innocence. And, we're hoping guys will keep the peace. You know, learn to love each other and try not to do anything stupid. Just make it home. You know, make it to church, or make it to work, or make it to wherever you're wanting to go. Anyways, before I let you go, there was two songs. The song I was listening to that day, I wanted to share with you. And anyway, there it is. You know, it's Alabama, I'm in a hurry. You know, it's a country song. Alabama, excuse my handwriting. I did the best I can. But anyway, that's the song I was listening to. It came on the radio, and I said, listen to it. You may not like country, but give it a chance. But I tell you what, you know, put that on your list of playing music on YouTube or Bluetooth, whatever, and you can jam out to that. You know, as you're going to wherever you're coming home, think about it. You know, there's another song that they don't play much on the radio anymore either. But anyways, there's another one you can put on as you're driving. War, you know what I mean? Low Rider, you know, back from 1975. See, yeah, that's a good song there too. Anyways, I mean, I'm sorry I can't play the music on here. I'm on copyright strikes and all that good stuff. So I just wanted to share them songs with you. Those are a couple songs, you know, you can put on, you know, jam out to, let your foot off the pedal and relax, man. Let the people go on ahead, man. You know, you ever want to drive like a fool, get pulled over by a cop up the street, you know what I mean? Let them do that, you know, or get in a bad accident, you know, because they're driving stupid. You know, that's all there is to it. You know, but I hope this gives you a different perspective, as it has me, and hopefully, you know, you can pass on kindness to others. You know, you can let them in, you know, merge over the other lane, let them in. You need to start changing, and it's going to start with just us. It ain't going to, you know, nobody can fix all this in one day. You know, if you do it, the next person does it, the next person does it, you know, you make a difference. And show them more kindness and patience. Patience is a virtue. Not many people have, you know. Try to go fishing. Anyway, like, subscribe, share. Thank you for your time.